Let's go. We're live. What's up, everybody? GMGNGA, wherever you're at. Wow, what a great day in near history. Oh, yeah, we here. Let's jump right into it. GMGNGA, welcome to wherever you're calling in from. Super excited to be here with you guys as we count down. We got 50 minutes until elections close. How's everybody feeling today?
Feeling excited. Yeah, there's been a lot of, run-ups, a lot of close calls. So, we've got a lot going on, lots of tight races going. So, I mean, it's an exciting time. Voter turnout's better than what we expected. So, I mean, what else can you ask for?
Can we talk about it for a second? A lot of people doubted us. A lot of people said, hey, OGs aren't going to run. Community members won't show up. This, that, the third laundry list goes on. I think we did a pretty successful job, if I do say so myself. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, no, it's been a long time and it's exciting, right? I mean, we actually, are on the precipice here, right at the end of pulling this off. So it's exciting. 48 minutes here to go.
Man, the race is close. Hey, William, what's your thoughts on this, bro? These seats right here, oh my gosh. The House of Merit, that 15th seat, super close race. Excited to see how that one pans out. Think even the seventh seat for Council Advisors, super close, right? Like, this is going to be a photo finish.
Yeah, what we don't know is, who's waiting till the last few minutes here. We can expect that there's going to be some folks just waiting in the wings. We actually saw a little bit of interesting thing happen. I don't know, maybe 20 minutes ago, where a lot of the near believers came out and they voted just a minute ago. A lot of the leaders there that have been running up in the leaderboards at the top, they went and voted. And then there seemed to be a strong connection with the community where the community came back in another swath and voted as well. So I'm wondering how much of this back and forth we might see here right at the end, or if that was it.
Oh man, wowzers. Last minute buzzer beater. Shout out to the Believers Coalition. Really, really showing up. Look, we have the thing that really kind of the House of Merit 815 votes. Like, wow. Truly a great testimony to a community turning up and turning out. Very exciting. Very, very, very good signals, I think, in the ecosystem. And this is the first one. So it's really just like that foundational, outline, and um, excited to see how these seats turn out. Yeah, where's the timer at right now? We are T minus what 40 T minus 46 minutes. Blaze, would love to hear from your perspective, seeing this come together from the very beginning, being able to cast vision over it. What are some of the major things you took away from this whole processes?
Yeah, so there's a lot of lessons learned that we'll have to reflect upon and figure out how we can fix it in V1. But I think in general, the largest challenge was belief, right? Just getting people to believe that this was going to be real, that this could indeed happen, that Near Foundation would keep its commitments to see this through, right? And so we can see that they've showed us in a big way that they were here to support this movement of the grassroots community to self-organize and create a community treasury and do create governance, create a voting mechanism, create all of these things. So they've been very supportive through the process. I'd say the other thing that we've really learned, or I've learned through this is very complicated to set up something at this level. It's certainly been the challenge of my life, but in terms of what we've done from everything starting from the community treasury, which is really a revolutionary legal framework in Web3, right? Something that's never been done before. We've got the largest community governed treasury in Web3 space. We have the first fully democratic election in the Web3 space at this level with these verified humans. So there are a lot of firsts that we're kind of embarking upon. And, that's been exciting. But, the reality is we're not there yet. And V1 is just that next step that we need to take to continue to evolve this governance framework and, the legal entities and all the things that we need to be successful.
Man, couldn't agree more. Very well said. A lot of lessons learned. This is the first. And so ultimately, like, there's not really a blueprint on how to create something quite like this. And it is a very intricate system. So, I think ultimately when we think about like the Web3 history books of sorts, I think we deserve a little chapter or two when we talk about governance on Near, and to be part of it, as a collective and be part of it as a community, ups, downs, sideways, and indifferent. It's really a beautiful thing. So
for sure.
GM, what up, ABB? What's going on?
Blaze, did you get any sleep?
I took maybe a little 30-minute nap here, but yeah, I've been at it. So
we know Blaze don't sleep. It's governance.
I was on a low carb diet and then had some cookies to deal with the intensity of it all, and I had the craziest dreams. You know what I dreamt?
What happened, ABB?
We were at Blaze's wedding. Before the election, for some reason, he had like a double deep sesh, making sure that everyone's here. We might as well have a celebration,
right?
And then I woke up at 4 a.m. like, what's happening with the votes?
Right.
And, yeah, I think we need an item in the budget for like therapy.
I'm bullish on therapy for those that are involved in this, because election fatigue is a thing. So.
It's been a wild ride. I don't know if you guys saw Ilya's tweet saying that he's abstaining from voting, but that he will be involved in making sure that the election something, as always, a black dragon, few words, lots of meaning, read between the lines. If you want to pull it up, I don't know if anyone has any comments.
Yes, let me pull that up real quick. Ilya, the black dragon himself. What's Ilya's Twitter name? There you go. We in there. All right, let's do some sleuthing. Experiment of NDC is soon to reach the next. This one right here.
Yes.
Sweet. I love the meme. Come on now, Ilya. Sense of humor. I was not participating in voting to not affect the elections. I'm going to be active though to make sure elections have ran fair. See the comments. This is my favorite part. Whenever I look at a tweet, the comments, this is where it gets spicy. So one of the biggest takeaways, in my opinion, is that voting needs to be private. If I know my vote is public, it leads to bias, and me as a voter and TPS can be significantly affect our voter turnout. Issue is fixable via CK, of course. What's y'all thoughts on the first public vote?
I love how everyone is like low-key shilling their own solution. Garvey is there shilling ZK, of course, that's his jam. I am there trying to get a guest on the pause. You gotta, talk your book,
We got HRs coming in out with a little comment. Feel free to directly reach out. Any feedback regarding election integrity, and thank you for support. They won.
What's been interesting to me is like the public voting, and we'll do some additional analysis, but there are already charts by Pikes Peak. But when you look at the voting patterns, the public voting in of itself didn't seem to create bias and didn't seem to impact the way that people were voting, right? Other than the Near Believers Alliance, which had a lot of the similar voting patterns, there is quite a bit of a mix of voting patterns out there from the community.
I mean, things can look so differently depending on where you place them in time. Somebody messaged me, and I don't want to say names. Obviously, you can go and find out. It's all on chain. But they were like, hey, like, did you notice that X person from the foundation did not vote for Marique? And I was like, ooh, daring. And I thought at the time that it may be reflected that both the system is, yes, working as intended, like you vote for your true candidates. But also I'm wondering whether internally within the foundation, it was already known that she was going to step down. So maybe that gave people some freedom to, I don't know. We can only speculate. The other thing that is interesting is that, a few hours before Ilya's tweet, Marique also gave an interesting message. Like we read it last night on the first live stream around her commitment to, still be around, work against people trying to centralize. Kind of cryptic, but it's an interesting statement of the times.
Yeah, this is definitely a telenovela that we're living in currently, like with that news coming out, Ilya's posts, and just all the I don't want to say drama, all the news that dropped. I feel like it's actually been pretty light in the grand scheme of things. Nothing really that much of a spectacle or that dramatic, which I'm kind of upset about a little bit. But hopefully next go round we can have some more bombs dropped, and because I think that's what really draws people out to vote. We did have an amazing turnout. Truly a good testimony to community engagement. But yeah, we've heard it from the community a few times. We need more spiciness.
Hey, so a lot of folks are saying they can't get in. Is this limited in number of folks that can join?
Nah, it's not limited in number of people can join. I don't know why people are.
There may be two links, one for people to join as speakers on stage. That one may have a limit. And then there should be the public link. Russ, if you look at the top right, there's a button that says stream these to your audience. Maybe you need to turn that one on.
Okay. Stream to audience. I got signed. Let's see. Bear with me.
Okay, sorry to interrupt, guys. You definitely don't have to stream this to your audience. It's live on Niz's Twitter right now. So you want to tell them to watch on Twitter, but there is a limit to how many people you can have on stage and backstage. So if they want to public and or join and watch, just please tell them to go to the Twitter.
Oh, so this is streaming into Twitter. Okay, I get it now. Yeah, I haven't used StreamYard in a long time. That's good.
Sweet, awesome. Let me get the link out. They're happy now. Here we go. Awesome. Hey, thanks, Logic. You came in kind of like speaking like our consciousness for a second, bro. That was funny. But yes, I'm gonna put this link out there. ABB, I guess from your perspective, turnout wise, where we're at right now, what's some of the first things that come to mind?
Well, since I went to sleep last night, now there's been over 100 votes coming in. So we're sitting at 27.2%. That's 849 humans out of the 3,126 that were registered for this cycle. To be honest, we are within range. I think that we were expecting anywhere between 700 and 900. I guess the deeper question would be, why did we pick that range out of the 3,000? I mean, actually close to 4,000, before the election. There's a lot of probably lessons there on, how to activate community, communication, why should they care, who should be voting. It's probably going to be harder to try to draw some of these lessons if we end up with a really good cohort of candidates anyway, because we may confuse really good candidates that came forward and, really good in general common sense with some things in the system that can and should be improved. But yeah, I think that overall, I've got my Learn Your Club, the Watcher Telegram app. I've seen lots of known names come forward. I think most OGs are participating. Most OGs found a candidate or a group of candidates that they supported. They felt like there was quality in there. And yeah, hopefully, regardless of who ends up in the top 7 or 15, the message should be, I mean, if you look at a normal election, you usually win by like 1%.
Mm-hmm.
And then the message, if you're honest and humble, is don't ignore the other 49%. Because, you know, that's just a diversity of the community. So hopefully the people that do get in and have the actual responsibility are open to talk to everyone, to collaborate, and to make sure that, you know, it is them on the seat for 6 months, but it is still one large community and everyone needs attention, funding, etc.
Agreed. I think that's a good synopsis. Ultimately, I'm super bullish on just, you know, a more diverse and inclusive space, and I think governance can provide that, right? Like, it can't be just the same people saying the same things. And ultimately, I think, yeah, this first go round will be a signal. So moving forward for the next, you know, election, we'll see. I think even a bigger turnout, more people involved, and yeah, I think it's just exciting to be in a near ecosystem. We need something to revitalize us, right? So this is good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah, we always have this concept, and I'm pretty sure it's in the marketing DAO charter, of projects graduating. So, you know, you're in the community, you're doing great work. You probably reached a stage where we can probably fund you for some of that work because it's more meaningful, etc. And then as you reach the marketing DAO cap, there was a vision for you to grow into a fully fledged product, maybe raise money, have your own revenue streams, or maybe get like a separate grant, like a larger from a foundation or other bodies. I think that we can probably think of similar pathways for the NTC. And instead of graduation, maybe it can be like talent rotation. You know, you're in the NDC, you serve your time, and then you go off and you build, or you could build, gain experience, and then come into the NDC. I think that fighting off that notion that once you get in is a monarchy and no one can get you out makes it much more palatable to understand that, you know, people will be rotating over time, and regardless of who's in, the system should be resilient and serving the broader community as opposed to itself.
Yeah, I'm all for that. 100% on the graduation paths. We were doing that when the Dowcubator thing was going on. There was always a graduation path. And I think it helps people put in the mindset and the framing that there's impermanence. And when there's impermanence, they'll take advantage of what's in front of them.
Well said. Let's see, Bot Slayer. We need the Pikes Peak. Go ahead and pull that bad boy up real quick. Drop the Pikes Peak and theme. Staying vigilant, staying on top of it. Let's see where we're at. Okay, current standings. Let's see where that 15 seat is at right now. Okay, tied. Oh my gosh, crazy. Let's go, Odin.
Can you stream? Oh, yeah.
There we go.
Can y'all see it?
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, we can now.
Awesome. That 15th seat is very, very interesting in the House of Merit.
Damn, the triple tie comes back.
And then Council of Advisors going insane. You know, 8th seat not too far off, a couple votes away. Anything can happen. Love to see Matt moving up in the leaderboards. Love that. Where else?
I think an interesting trend is that after the Believers Coalition forms, and after we identify the trend of many separate communities voting for only a handful of candidates, I did see some outreach between these communities to be like, hey, you know, even if your candidates don't get in, like, don't waste the rest of the votes. And these would be our top 2 or 3 picks that are, you know, razor thin margin to try to bump them in. So yeah, it'd be really interesting to see the community using all the analytics tools to identify trends, opportunities, lessons for the next round.
Yeah, I think there's a really obvious lesson even without looking at the data, and that's you form a party and you're going to be successful. And there was one party formed, and the rest of the folks didn't form parties, so that much is obvious without much data. Sometimes you don't have to dig too deep for lessons.
Right.
No, but the lesson was we start the election with a very strong tone against collusion, intimidation, vote buying. Like when I shared my tweet after I voted, I was very careful with the language not to tell people how to vote or not to be seen to be influencing the election. I was literally sharing information that is public, like, hey, I already voted. In fact, I didn't share it before I voted. So it was interesting that this notion of a party and being able to have alliances and be able to openly say, hey, yeah, we're a block and, you know, whatever, we don't care. These are the 29 people and we'll just vote for those 29 blatantly. That was kind of like a halfway through surprise. Should not have been, because it's the way it happens in the real world. Lessons, if you're going to form a block, be picky on who you choose. There may be people in your block that really lift the group up, and there may be people that actually drag it down. I personally was not impressed with the believers. I think that the criteria for selecting favored loyalty, people that will do as being told, people that are young, energetic, they've got the right motivation, but maybe not as much experience. And yeah, I personally was a little bit put off by it.
Yeah, definitely mixed feelings. I do respect their ability to organize, but yeah, we'll see how candidates perform in roles. I feel like a lot of the discussions around platforms were more about ideals and less about tactical, tangible next steps and things that people would execute on. So everybody was kind of echoing the same goals of the things they wanted to have happen, but nobody was getting deep into the nitty gritty of like how you get there.
Agreed. I think a lot of people were just trying to get elected, right? Like a lot, from my perspective, people are going to be somewhat confused once they get elected and what the kind of next steps are. And the GWG is going to be able to help shepherd in people. And I think that process, that handoff process, is critical and crucial. But yeah, it definitely is important. And when we think about what happened with these parties forming, again, it all does come down to coordination, how people are able to come together. You know, hopefully there's lessons learned for the next election and seeing people, you know, form parties and come together from cross communities. We didn't really see that too much. We saw like the success of what happened with the Believers Coalition. So maybe that makes more believers of parties for next go round.
I mean, I would probably caveat that because if you talk to them, they're actually not happy. You know, leading for 2 weeks and then bumping everyone out in the last 24 hours is not really a win. So to me, the lesson is authenticity wins. Wax is leading because people know who he is. He's constantly in public. I'm leading with literally zero coalition and no marketing. You know, Matt Locke here. There's people that are, I guess, like more in touch, but they've got that personal recognition. You know, even Fritz, I see Fritz in the cold. He's very in touch with the community on the front lines. When you have someone leading and you have to go to a Telegram chat to ask who they are, it's weird.
Red flag.
So that will be one lesson. Always try to favor authenticity. Be sure that obviously we have alliances and we can collaborate and compromise. Stay true to the cause. The other lesson for me would be that the the candidate platform, we should probably tailor the questions to each specific house. Because, for instance, for the Transparency Commission, perhaps it's the outlier house that it's more legal heavy, it's more legacy. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, you just have to bring in the best practices. That one should have definitely asked people, like, what do you bring to the table in this specific skill set? You know, you wanting to grow regional communities, that's really relevant to you. We need to make sure that the specific duties of the house can be carried out. So yeah, that's definitely something for the next one.
Yeah, and the authenticity thing is interesting in the way that it plays with privacy too. I feel like I was pretty authentic in the strange way that I got my soulbound token on an account that wasn't like my main account, and that definitely hurt me in the election. It wasn't a large concern of mine, and I'm fine with that. But it's definitely a lesson learned. Like I had minted my soulbound tokens when I was working on these tools and was doing it as basically as a test in production. Not really expecting to run or anything, but yeah, that was a very very interesting thing, and in hindsight it's totally obvious that if it was going to be running, doesn't
Yeah,
make sense to
100%. I think that it's very hard to have these like blanket statements because one candidate's experience is completely invalidated by the other one. I think that in your case, we have two lessons. First, nominating very early may have been against you because the nominations page listed people by when they nominated, latest first. And I think at some point, Chloe and yourself fell on like the second page, which is safe to assume very few people would have gone there. I also wonder how the ranking of the candidates happened because, I went to vote and like Joe appeared like last. And I was like, huh, I was looking for him. So I withheld my votes till I reached him. But you can see how if there's a lot of candidates and you only have 7 votes, maybe some people after they exhaust their 7 votes, people further down are not considered. The other thing that I think really affected you was that the UI change, where we included the candidate's name as well as their near wallet, was implemented like several days in.
oh yeah.
Some people may say that not many people had voted by then, but these are the small things that, in terms of fairness, we just need to make sure that they're all patched for the next election. Some of the messaging and the clarity around choose all the candidates in one block and then vote was big. Once again, it is arguable whether it would have made a difference. Honestly, I think that things are so close right now. I can tell you, Mike Purvis, the Sandy from Calimero, several people that are well known and smart, even candidates, made that mistake. So yeah, maybe those were the handful of votes that would have swung this for a few candidates.
100% agree with that. And I always like, from a marketing perspective, how do we get that messaging out to everybody so that we try to say it early, getting out there like, hey, once you do finish voting in this, whatever house, it's a wrap. You can't go back to it. So, use as many votes as you see fit, preferably use all of them and spread them across, right? But for whatever reason, there was still like that disconnect. So, yeah. Definitely would have made a difference. It's very, very tight, as you can see. Yo, this is absolutely mad. We got House of Merit. I think the tie just broke, so we had some votes come in as we were speaking up here. So yeah, it's still a very, very close race, and what we got T-minus 23 minutes. So yeah, and then where else we close at? And the Council of Advisors, few votes away. Between the 7th and 8th seat, Marika and Blaze going at it head to head. And so, yeah, it'd be very exciting to see how Marika gets involved with the news of stepping down. And, yeah, very, very interesting timing. I'm happy about it, though, and her being involved. She showed a lot of love to us at APAC, right? So it was really a beautiful thing to see the support that we had from the foundation and them rocking the merch.
Yeah, I am noticing a very exciting trend. Like DevHub is growing, and they're getting some great people in there, great talent. I'm not going to spill any alpha now, but I think there may be some talent joining as well soon. And with that, we're starting to see as well more product people. I've been speaking with Jeff Bessinger from Satori. We want to get more of a product group going on. Even Jordan on this call. Some of the issues that we've experienced with this election probably come down to very constrained timelines and a smaller group of people just trying to hack everything from the back end to the front end to the testing to, I think that if we had either more time or just like more hands on deck to provide some feedback, to be able to iterate, I could identify some things that, were probably not enough or not given the feedback in time. The progression bar at the top was missing some steps, like pay your bond. And maybe the bond that you have to pay should be displayed before you actually proceed with the transaction, because people had to cancel, it fails, you have to go get money. There's a few things in there. Even now, the wording between the last step when I voted and the new last step, which is redeem your bond, claiming your I voted SBT and claiming your I voted NFT and your I voted SBT is, you can't really tell the difference. I literally took the screenshot and I was on the chat about to report the error when I finally noticed the couple different letters, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, it is different. So the small things like that, yeah, we have to assume that the person voting has no idea. It's the first time they use the platform, and a bit of contextual information, just like hand holding, especially, voting for one candidate and losing 14 votes it's a pretty tragic one. I know that there were some improvements made with that one, like pretty quickly to mitigate it, but
yeah, no, we definitely got to be able to like walk people through it, clear, concise, even as big brain as a lot of us are, and how deep in tech and Web3 we are. There was still a few things that like might have went over people's head and caused a couple of stumblings, but yeah, definitely all lessons learned, and refining for the next election. Regardless, we still had a pretty solid turnout, and now we're at 798 for Transparency Commission. Where we at with the 802 for council advisors and 819 turnouts for House of Mayors. So, and 19 minutes left. We in the last 20 minutes of an election, yo. This
we're
is
entering the last mile.
That's
For the
wild.
people watching at home, a reminder that we've got a whistleblower program. If you see something, if you're hacking the election yourself, report it. There are well over 20 claims submitted already. So there will be a run-off period of 8 to 10 days while the EIC, the Election Integrity Commission, reviews all those claims. I asked William last night, and he didn't seem to have any major objections that the claims, when appropriate, should be made public so that everyone can go on chain, and ideally the findings made by the EIC match where the community can go and verify on their own. And yeah, 1st of October should be the beginning of the term for the candidates.
What do we think is going to happen here in these last 20 minutes? Are we going to see a stream of votes start to come in, or do we feel like we're just at a trickle effect now and just a few more coming in, or we think there's going to be a last minute dash to, push some candidates to the top that might be on the fringe right now?
Ooh, Fritz, I see you popped up on stage. Would love to hear your thoughts, bro.
I am already surprised by the amount of humans that voted. I thought we were going to be around 500 humans, but 850, that's a lot. I don't think we are going to have many more votes now. I think what we have, it is. La suerte está echada, dicen en romano. ¿Cómo se traduce eso, Alejandro?
What are you trying to say?
La suerte está echada. Ya, lo que está hecho, está hecho.
Oh yeah, the cards have been laid out. It is what it is. I think that unless you have a very well organized group of people with very tight coordination, waiting for the last 15 minutes to tip the election is very risky. If we do see a large influx of votes, I would be paying attention on any patterns for it being perhaps not authentic behavior. And for some context, leading up to the election, you see signs of things that may or may not be suspicious. A brand new account issuing multiple private keys, meaning that the human that got actually verified, sure, they exist, but there is somebody else that also has a private key. So those are the instances where you may be saying, hey, there may be one actor behind multiple accounts of actual humans. So yeah, we just got to pay attention for those.
Yeah, agreed. I think 16 minutes left. Anything can happen. Also, just a reminder, guys, if you're not speaking, if you could just mute, please. Just be respectful of those on the mic. But ultimately, 16 minutes. with a few last, last like kind of close knit tie. Oh yeah, now we got Odin tied again. There's another 3-way tie for House of Mayor as we've been kind of kicking it here, talking through the election. There's been a lot happening in the backstop. So yeah, very exciting stuff. Very exciting stuff. I think it's been a fun experiment, and I would love maybe if we can go around full circle, talk through like from the beginning, like some of the questions we've had and some of maybe the doubts, and then seeing it transition into this and where we're at with turnout, voters. I guess what I'm trying to say is NearCon last year, seeing it come to fruition. Blaze, can you talk about trying to galvanize and bring people? I heard some like kind of stories and rumblings of you trying to organize and get people to start, working together for NDC at NearCon last year.
Yeah, so the story is that right before NearCon, a couple weeks before, is when NDC was a big push on NDC was put forward to kind of start to galvanize the community, get everybody rallied, and I think there was a lot of excitement going into NearCon and coming out of NearCon. But at the end of the day, once the roar dies down, everybody gets COVID, goes home, tries to recover, weeks slip by, right, and then interest starts to decline. So one of the challenges we had early on in NDC is a lot of folks had come forward and said, hey, I want to contribute, but what are the rewards? And there weren't any rewards, right? And so for the last Q4 of last year, really every contributor that came forward was contributing for free. And it wasn't until early January that we were able to work with Near Foundation and start to get rewards for the community for their contributions after some things had been done. At that time, it was only about, 17 to 20 people strong in NDC, and the rest kind of returned to their projects and were working in their own efforts. So from there, it was like, how do we rebuild this? How do we get the community engaged? And that's really what the process was. A lot of folks took off for the holidays, and come hit January this year, that's when really NDC took off and more people started engaging, and we started getting real good forward motion.
Yeah, we need some sort of monument or something for those first 17 to 20 people that really, it was a bare market and governance for a second, right? Like those who came forward and at least helped to get the ball rolling and displayed some interest and without any sight of rewards. So yeah, shout out to those people. And then ABB, I definitely think a boxing match is an order only way if you be the referee and and be in the middle of it, moderating it. That'd be funny.
Just on the point of privacy and bias on the elections, if you go to the Deems tool, you can see candidates that are winning. They voted just recently, it must have been in the last hour. And remember what I mentioned before about the block voting and basically me losing faith in people that vote blindly for a block? I think that it would have affected their candidacy if people could see how they voted. Honestly, I would have not voted for them. I'll take my vote back now. It's disappointing to see alignment along those lines from candidates, because it makes you realize that if they get in, are they going to put the ecosystem first, or are they going to put the personal alliances and priorities first? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a political issue. That's why elections on the real life are private. We could do something. We already discussed that someday back, right, Alejandro, about how we could turn these elections into a private vote, like no one knows who voted for who.
Yeah, it's definitely in the to-do list. There's a few conversations happening about different approaches, and I think Sheldon is trying to join Ross.
Okay, is he trying to join from the speakers? Onto here we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, he should be able to join. Logic, can we get? Yeah, there we go. Bingo. Asking shall receive. You're good, William. Stay here, bro. We need you to speak too. But what's up, Sheldon?
Ross.
Oh, hey, I'm in. What's up,
Okay,
guys? Go
he's
ahead.
there. Welcome, Sheldon. Sorry, Ross. You guys already discussed the voters graph.
We didn't talk about it. Let's dive into it.
I can present I can share screen, right? I'm going to try.
Logic, he should be able to share screen, no?
I'm trying.
Yep,
Let
there
me
we go.
know. Let me know. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes, sir. We can see it. Look at all the collusion.
Okay, so what I understand from the graph is that, for example, candidates that are in the edges, like let's see a candidate, for example, here. You can touch the candidate, and it's on the edge because the voter side are only on this side. The people who vote for him, the blue dots, are only here on that edge. And there are basically three main edges, because you guys were talking when I get in the call about only one big block that's here. For example, in this case, Lolson, you can see he only get votes there from Ukraine, basically. But when you have candidates more in the center, like Wax, I'm trying to I'm pushing his while your dad, Wax. Go ahead. It's taking time. Well, but once it's done, it will show that he received votes from every group. That's why he's more in the center of the graph. So what I understand from this is that candidates that are more to the center than to the edges really have the support of the broader community, not only their block.
Yeah, and I think that if you zoom enough, I mean, your intern did a fantastic job at identifying the different factions, albeit with some funny tags. But for instance, right at the very bottom where you see Amos, that's all the Near Foundation spinouts. You know, there's Calimero, there's Yesen. On the left extreme, you can see some creatives. On the upper left, you can see probably South America and Mexico. Somewhere in the middle is Banyan Collective, you know, a cluster around Web3 Plug and Jared. And yeah, it's interesting to see how, I mean, it's natural to have some of your community supporting you, but there is definitely very heavy concentration on the right with suspiciously little support from any other block.
Yeah, talking about the geography of what we're looking at on the map, if you look at any of the block edges, there's kind of three big swaths of blocks that I see. There aren't any dots outside of the upper right. And there are dots around the edges of the other two blocks.
I think Taylor is right in the middle because literally no one voted for him.
R.I.P. Taylor.
Oh.
No, I think this is so awesome to see. This is a blockchain. But go ahead, Fritz.
So, sorry. I was going to answer Jordan. What I see from the sides when there are people when these dots are far behind, like here south, is because they voted only for one person. For example, I just click, and that wallet or voter only voted for this guy here. Like, it's I'm clicking, but
I see what you're saying. That's an
okay,
interesting
okay,
insight.
okay. So when you go from here in South America, you can go also click and only voted for these three guys, me, Ulysses, J-Lo. Okay, so in the case of Ukraine, they are not on the edges because they voted for the whole block, meaning that they in Ukraine they do have a coalition with 15 or 20 candidates, so their voters are really following their instructions to vote somehow. Like they all those voters are not leaving behind any possible vote and voting for all of them, so they all can get like 15 members into the top of the candidates in the election. But when you see people voting in the sites, it's because they only vote for one person or not really have a coalition.
I mean, this to me shows
Yeah,
that.
Octopus, the easy example. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this to me shows that there's like different levels of strategies. That's why I call it like a 17D chess. Like if you're smart, you sit with your command team and say, hey, these are the 4 people that we really want to get in. If you're getting fake voters, make sure that you're making them look real. You always vote for 29 people or 23 or 26, but not for the same people all the time. You need to obfuscate your voting patterns. Shevchenko has like 300 plus votes. Maybe the mission was, hey, we're getting one person in. Doesn't matter the rest. That's just, distractions. And if they get in, great. And if not, there could be many different strategies. As I said, that was a smart strategy. Getting 200 voters to vote for only one person, you're putting all your eggs in one basket. You're giving up your right to say, hey, if I don't get in, who would be the next best candidate to represent my interests? I think that this election is going to be interesting for a lot of groups. And I think that the next election is going to look very, very different because everyone's going to update your strategies, and never a boring day.
How many minutes we got here coming up? So 3 minutes and 30 seconds right now, 29 seconds in our first inaugural election. So very exciting.
If you if you do a hard refresh, I think only 4 people have voted in the last 10 minutes. So definitely not a rush as we may have been expecting or speculating. And Froll and Sasha from Council of Advisors are slowly dropping. Matt Lockyer is now sitting comfortably in position number 4, but leading by just 1 vote. There is still a tie between... no, there's no tie anymore. Yeah, number 7. Oh, wow, they keep dropping. Marik is now number 5. Look, to be honest, this could be a picture photo, the revenge of the blocks. Sasha and Froll may or may not have been the 2 people that voted in the last hour, and whatever. Blaze, are you going to sneak in? You need 2 more votes. No, 7.
Yeah,
6.
it's a lot of votes. So, yeah, it's not looking like it for this.
DM the bots.
DM the bots. Unleash the bots, man.
Interesting enough, if we look at the House of Merit with only 3 minutes to go, there is a triple tie. So position 14, 15, and 16 are all sitting on 166 votes. I've been told yesterday that in the case of a tie, there would be a runoff between those candidates. So I'm assuming that we may see those 3 candidates run up again for only 2 positions, and the entire body has to vote again. And the Transparency Commission is a little bit more chilled. It's a little bit more boring. Not much has changed in the last 12 hours. Vikash is still leading. He got in 181 votes. And the next one down is 172. So unlikely to see any surprises in the next 2 minutes. How are we feeling?
The mods
1 minute.
Let's go. 1 minute. shout out to the mods, really showing up. We love you guys. They made a presence, and excited to see them get the love and support that they deserve. We really couldn't run without them. So yeah, shout out to them. But yeah, go ahead, ABB, continue, please. 1 minute. Let's get it. Hey, Logic, can you cue up that it's the final countdown?
Can you do a hard refresh, dude? There's more than 852 votes on my side, or someone's
30
really gonna be
seconds.
shit. What's going on?
Boom. Drum roll. Let's see if we get a last 200 votes real quick.
Bro, get that CLI going.
Let's go.
There could be a lot of votes in this last minute. Near's
Who's the last voter, by the way? Who's getting
With
shelled
2-second
20 near?
finality and a really slow indexer. Yeah, there could be anything happening right now.
All right, countdown. 10,
9,
9, 8, 7,
7.
5,
3,
2,
go! It's done.
Elections are complete. Hey, round of applause for everybody. Really sensational work. Really appreciate each and every one of you guys. We did it. We did it.
For the election people, is the contract automatically frozen now? Or what's happening?
It looked like it rolled over, so I think we're going to have new elections in 7 days. It was a much shorter period than we were first predicting with the 6 months, but what is long here?
Yeah, that's to signify the cool down period has started on the election. The election is under review for 7 days and 23 hours, 59 minutes. So the EIC now will finalize the whistleblower requests and review any discrepancies they may find and create that final report out to the community.
But Blaze, one concern that is coming up is that, as we can see, presumably after the EIC report, we may not have a tie in the House of Merit. But assuming that we do, what would the timeline for the runoff look like? Is that something that could be called or we can start working on earlier to give the voters enough heads up? Because, yeah, a lot of thoughts are coming around the fairness of a new election for the 3 candidates if they have to rally an entire base again. And especially if the House of Merit entering into, being functional in operation would be held back because we need to hold a runoff election. Like, that could potentially shift timeline significantly.
It's the final countdown.
Roger. Appreciate it. Let's go.
Oh, damn. To answer Sheldon's question, the last voter is another sad surprise to me from the block. Vlad vote against all.
Wow.
Third last, Evangel. 5th last, Cash. Most of several candidates came in very last minute.
Wait, where are you looking at this? Is this the Pikes Peak? I thought I saw somebody else.
This is Vadim's tool. Let me send the link on the chat so you can pop it up if you want to take into the bus.
Hi. I need help getting you to the car. No, I want Papa to do it.
Somebody got a hot mic. If you can mute in the background, that would be sensational.
Not that hard to lift a dog.
Lucy.
Ooh, Kaz, what up? Coming in hot. GM though.
Lucy, come.
GM. How's it going? Who's winning?
Everybody who participated won. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Kaz is going Anon.
Oh, am I? I put my name in. I put my digits in. Put everything in.
I'm saying that your image is obfuscated. You're in the darkness.
Yep, we got your seat praise now, Kaz. Appreciate that. It's going to a good cause.
Yeah, ABB, you were asking me a question, and then somehow I got kicked, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was referring to, it looks like we have a triple tie for the House of Merit. So while the EIC reviews the results, can we put in motion the runoff election to decide those seats, the definition of those seats, hold back the House of Merit as a whole coming into operation October 1st. I'm thinking that we should probably do that sooner the better, because there's some fairness around those three candidates now having to rally their bases to the new election. Yeah, just any thoughts around that? I'm sure that the GWG will have to convene to decide, but anything that comes to mind now?
Yeah, so we've already tested the runoff elections multiple and many times, so that system is actually ready to go. So basically, they just need to take those candidates. My guess would be they may need to deliberate, and William may know, but it's just going to be the last two seats that were in contention. If there were three seats that had the same number, it'd just be the last two in the voting list, would be my assumption. But yeah, they'll have to deliberate on that. Is it 2 or 3 seats? It's 3, right? So yeah, I think the way that this list is sorted on Pikes Peak is last vote in. So it looks like it might be those last two, but we'll have to get final word. But the runoff election would actually start during this cool down period.
It's a triple tie.
Nice. Well, some final thoughts. If we look at the Council of Advisors, which was the tightest race, we've got Alex from Aurora, number 1. We've got Aman, which I think it's Aurora support team, number 2. We've got Evangel from near Ukraine, number 3. Matt Lockyer, Proximity, number 4. Marique, former Near Foundation, number 5. Frol, DevRel at DevHub and Near Court, Pagoda Engineering side, number 6. And Sasha, Learn Near Club, number 7.
Let's go.
Seems like a good cohort. Definitely very talented people, very hardworking.
I would say so. I would
There's
definitely.
definitely some strong alliances
What's the
there.
vote count? What's the vote count for the Tide?
So it was very, very tight. Lockyer at number 4, or actually even Evangel at number 3, 193 votes. Number 4 was 192 votes. There's a tie for place 5 and 6, both at 191. And then finally, Sasha at number 7 was 190. The next one down was Blaze, off by only 5 votes. So he was at 185. And it was very close throughout. Like there were periods over the last 12 hours where we had a triple tie, Blaze, Marique, Lockyer, etc. And yeah, I think that was definitely one that everyone was paying attention to. On the House of Merit, if we look at the edges, the triple tie, positions 14, 15, and 16 are sitting at 166 votes. The next one up, so position 13, has 174, small gap there. And then the next one down is Louis Liu with 160. So so roughly a 6-vote margin either way. And the Transparency Commission, the lowest position, Vikash, number 7, has 181 votes. And that one has a safer margin of 9 votes. Next one down is Yonota at 172. I'm mentioning the margins because the EIC will be reviewing over 24 claims, and there may be some votes taken out. So with such close margins, there may be some small changes.
Mike.
Yeah, but overall, great election, guys. Very, very, beautiful thing to see come to fruition. I didn't expect a 3-way tie. You couldn't write a better story, right? So, come on now. That's going to be very exciting to see between who were the 3? It's Odin, and then who were the other 2?
Yes, so the threesome tie is, where are we? Max
So what
Kopp.
will be with Odin and Web3 Hedge? They have equal votes.
Yeah, so it's Max Cott, Web3 Hedge, and Odin.
Even
Kudos to
3
Odin.
of
He
them.
was here 12 hours ago sweating it.
Nice.
That was very close.
One of them's got to go.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm having a problem. I need some help, guys.
There
What's
is
up,
one thing
Sorry to. Yeah.
I would love to shout out while I can. I'll send a link here. So Russ, if you can share it. The team created another really cool tool that allows you to mass follow the people that voted for you. I think this would be a great opportunity to try to inject some life into Near Social. A lot of people have registered recently, and I think that them getting follows from people that they know would be a nice way to motivate them to come back. And yeah, let me just pull out the link and.
Yep, I'll put
I
it
used
up.
that earlier, but I got to do it again because, yeah, some more people voted for me since then. I got a nice little surge at the end. It was keeping me awake last night, but I took the mic because something else going on. I'm getting a discrepancy in who the last one was. So according to Vim's tool, it's cronus.near, but when I go to elections.ndc-wg.near, which is where the vote contract is, the last person to call it seems like 14 minutes ago, but I thought we had votes in the last like 5 minutes or something. So Pikes Peak doesn't have more up-to-date information than this. You know, I'm looking on the Explorer, trying to figure out, is elections.ndc-gwg.near for, calling a vote. Is that not the last one? Am I looking at the wrong contract? I'm looking at, it looks like COA here, I believe. Yeah, Prop ID 2. So I think it's actually Natalie J. Crew. I don't know who that is, but that's what I'm seeing on the Explorer. Can anybody give me a sanity check?
Let's go.
Is anyone using the contract calls? Because all of the Explorer is an indexer, right? It might be late. Pikes Peak's using an indexer. It might be late. Is anyone doing a per function call?
I think the DIM pulls information directly from the node, if that makes any sense at all. He mentioned that in passing yesterday. I'm not entirely sure what it means. So maybe that one is up to date.
I mean, Cronus is the second to last one, and that's the name that showed up on Vadim's tool. So I'm sure it's at least delayed by a little bit, because when we showed it, as the flat voting against everybody name, that person is literally outstepped by 4 minutes by Natalie J. Crew. So I'm sure there's at least that much, but like that was from 15 minutes ago. So yeah, I think there's a delay. I should be doing this with function calls, you're right, but I don't have
when I said that Vlad was the last one, I was going by Cronus as well. Although you are right, the election contract is showing 854 people voted, or at least the election widget on Near Social, like where people vote, on the square on the right with the percentage, and the Deems page is showing 853. So there may be a sneaky last one that hasn't updated.
Gotta find the sneaky one.
On the screen, we have Russ using this mass follow tool. Russ, just a little tip. Maybe don't do everyone at once. Like try doing a first batch. Because I think that you may have to deposit something. Yeah, just test it out before you select everyone.
If you deposit the one near first, it'll work. I did it earlier.
Did you get 102 votes, Ross? That's awesome.
I don't have one in that wallet. Yikes. So yeah, if y'all want to see it tested in action, send ogrust.near1near, and I promise I won't tell the EIC. But it seems I did get 102 votes. Shout out to all those who believed in the vibes, and appreciate the support. It is a warming feeling, I really appreciate the Near ecosystem as a whole. So, but yeah.
Awesome.
Let's go. Shout out to everybody who voted. This is pretty interesting to see, and love to really dive into the debate at another time about private versus public voting, because I do see both sides of the coin. There is some sort of bias that is created when people can see your vote, right? And it might sway certain people, but I also see the other side of it. So yeah. Yep. But this is a sick tool though. And if you guys haven't seen it yet, AVB did drop it in the chat. So Yeah, I'm here. I'm still here, Logic. But yeah, definitely.
It's actually ZK that we'd like to consider, right? One is ZK, who did I vote for? Because my vote should be private. It's the general thinking. But then there's the other ZK is right now we're following who's the leader, and people that current encourages people to vote tactically. And I'm actually I don't like voting tactically. I like people to vote for who they actually believe in rather than voting tactically. So my vote would be to not only ZK who I voted for, but also ZK the whole thing until the last minute, right?
I totally agree there. That's why I mentioned before elections that we should not have 15 votes for the House of Merit and 7 votes for the other 2 houses. We should have less votes, like 5 voting count. You see, because if you allow this whole voting power, then blocks are made. I mean, it's like how you call it? I forget a word.
It's kind of blocks in both senses of the term, because it's blocking like a goalie where you're stopping other people from getting in, and it's a block like coming together.
Yeah.
Grouping together, so kind of both ways.
Yeah, maybe 1 vote per house would be nice, or conviction voting. I'm always in the corner voting.
Totally agree. I hope feedback will be more taken into account for next elections.
Yeah.
I mean, usually, nature heals.
By the way, what do you think about Elias' tweet today?
Robert, you late. We already went into it. We went into the tea, but yeah, there was some definitely feedback. It was very like kind of cryptic of sorts, but yeah, we definitely talked about that in the beginning. So, what's your thoughts though, bro?
No, I mean that he said that he will look into the IEC work and will check that everything will be fair. Whether you think will Ilya does something or not?
Okay, so the last voter just updated on Vadim. Now we are at 8:54 on both the official NEAR contract and the Vadim one. And the last voter was Natalie J. Crew.
Let's go,
Noticeably, she did not
Natalie.
vote for. Yeah, she didn't vote for anyone in the House of. In the Transparency Commission. Interessant.
I'm gonna be following up on the transaction ID for that because I saw that as well, and then we were talking and was like, oh yeah, some votes came in at the last like 5 minutes. That vote did not take place in the last 5 minutes, so we'll see. It looks like Natalie J. Crew, but to be verified. I'll be making the payment via chatme.near, so all on-chain data.
I love the detective work live. You cannot fool there on chain. Also, as far as like the 2 blazes, somebody just trolling the true blaze. It's only 1 blaze, but somebody trolling.
Who trolling? Who trolling? No. Every single place. I'm a true blaze. I created the selection.
KYC everyone. Camera is on or get the fuck out.
Show the passport, show your ID, send the seed phrases. It's that time. But I do want to be respectful of everybody's time, and we only get a certain amount allotted here. But if you want to continue, maybe we just launch a Twitter space and go that route. I think that might be a little bit less friction for people. I know people were having a tough time, but just wanted to leave with a couple words of encouragement and just say, hey, really great job, guys. Up, down, and indifferent. We really did it, and more to come. This is a great testimony for community outreach for the NEAR ecosystem. I didn't think it was possible, but I'm even more bullish now. And really just beautiful to be able to be in community with each and every one of y'all and participate in, governance worldwide and revitalizing the ecosystem. So really appreciate the opportunity.
Totally.
Thanks so much for hosting, Russ. Should we move on to an election after party unrecorded?
Yeah, straight vibes. Please do. Let go.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Keep an eye out.
Big
for
hug,
after
big hug.
party space.
Bye bye.
Peace, everybody.
Peace, everybody. Bye.
Peace. See you later, guys.